Hi, my name's Caleb Sherman. I do stand-up in Portland, Maine area. I work for a progressive nonprofit, Maine People's Alliance. The views and opinions expressed in this interview are mine alone and do not represent the Maine People's Alliance. This is not a large fuzzy caterpillar, it's just a microphone. What two things go best with, maybe can't live without each other? Lots of things go well together. Salt and pepper. Salt makes sense. It's the only rock we eat. You need salt in your body. Where'd pepper come from? What even is pepper? Why is it on every table? It's the spice of life. Can't just have plain stuff, although I'm a big fan of unseasoned plain food. I don't know that salt and pepper are better together. They work pretty well independently of one another. We crave salt. I don't know, you can say we crave pepper in the same way that we crave salt. Are there some people that are better together? Yeah, like what about like Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, famous comedy duos, never seen them apart. But when it comes to like living your life, my grandparents are good together. My grandparents are inseparable, neither one could function without the other. My grandmother can't drive. My grandfather couldn't navigate to the grocery store without her. I've often in my life benefited from having somebody that gets me outside of my comfort zone. There's balance. Yeah, so maybe that's why salt and pepper get together. They balance each other out. Maybe that's why my grandparents lasted for like 50 freaking years. The times in my life that I've heard you guys are so good for each other, it's been from my parents who felt like they could finally breathe a little easier because my life was not as tumultuous. We sleep a little easier at night knowing that you have a person that's balancing out your shit. For young adults, people in their 20s, that balance is transient because you're growing and changing. And if you found a balance can also be stagnant. I got married at 18, divorced at 21. A lot of people said that we were good for each other. It was like, oh good, you're not abusive to her, and she is way prettier than you, Caleb. So when they said, you guys are so good for each other, it was like, there are no external signs that this is bad. I took on a lot of emotional burdens in that. And I think people saw that I was capable of taking on a lot of the emotional work both of us had to do. I think the difference between relying on somebody and just being there for somebody is that they could do it without you, but you relieve a little bit of the everyday stresses, and you don't experience it as a burden. So if your expectation of somebody that you're in a relationship with is that they will move heaven and earth, then it will feel like a disappointment, or you will feel hurt when they can't meet that drastic expectation. Or at least I feel like a disappointment sometimes in even friendships, not just romantic relationships, when I cannot be that, when I can't be that. No one should really expect themselves to always be able to show up in every situation, to always be on it. What signs or patterns show codependence? I mean, I should be an expert in this. What is like the textbook answer? I don't know. What even is codependency? The thing that I notice other people and myself doing is not being able to be single. Putting a lot of your self-worth in your partner's view of you. I think people can be codependent on their friend group. I don't think that necessarily I'm like severely codependent, but I have always had a counterpoint in my life, and I'm the last person you should be asking how to avoid codependency. I feel like the best way to avoid, okay, I've arrived at something. I think the best way to avoid being codependent is to work on yourself and to make sure that you're somewhat self-reliant. I feel like I'm somewhat optimistic about the future of dating relationships. People could be like really cynical about online dating. Yeah, it's a mess, but dating and relationships have always been a mess. I'm optimistic about it because it's 2019, and more and more people are open to the whole spectrum of the possibilities for themselves and others. Maybe dating will become kind of obsolete. If we're like all as woke as we're trying to be in 2019, just have human relationships. Caleb Sherman Comedy on Instagram. What? Do you want me to? Thank you for watching Serial Monogamist. Thank you for watching Serial Monogamist. Thank you for watching Serial Monogamist.